All right, so I want to talk about this Powerslap finale. I think there were some moments of drama in this. There were some times where one guy got up. I can recall one guy, I forgot his name, but he got flash knockout. He got knocked down. He was clearly, out, but he was able to get up quick enough to beat the count, and then he knocked out his opponent on the next slap. So that's kind of like a dramatic. And I think, like the main event, for example, it didn't go that long. Wolverine ended up knocking out Darius the first shot he got attempt. I think Wolverine took the first shot and then he knocked out Darius with the first shot of his. So just the challenge I think it's going to be long term for Powerslap is how do you create drama out of something that doesn't have a lot of variables? Powerslap is just two guys hitting each other. I don't even think it's slap; it's more of a strike. The guys are swinging from their core and their heels. This is a strike. It's not like Nate Diaz smacking somebody. It's not a slap. So there's not a lot of nuance to it in that, in MMA, you got a lot of different factors the way guys could lose. You have guys who fight different styles. You have some corner drama where guys are trying to strategize in the middle of the fight. You have a lot of different variables that you can bring to the audience that's watching. And the other thing that I think a lot of people aren't aware of, especially newer fans, is when MMA was coming up, and this was even before Zuffa was involved, before Dana White and the Fertitas were involved, there was already a fairly large swell of people that were behind it and were against the people trying to kill it, like John McCain. So there was kind of a us against the world kind of thing, right? Or us against the people that want to kill the sport. And there was even a saying like, what are you doing for the sport? Even fans had some ownership in trying to help the sport along. So I think this is different. Not a lot of people are watching this to begin with. So Dana can blame the media and all this stuff, but the media is not influencing your average person that doesn't watch Powerslap. It's just not a lot of people find it interesting. And another thing I would say is I think social media views are misleading. I posted a wrestling reel of a kid getting pinned and he squealed real loudly. It got like over 4 million views, which is more than what this Powerslap finale got. Now I'm sure a lot of people will go back and watch this and it'll eclipse 4 million. But that should tell you that social media views are very misleading. There's a lot of, meaningless stuff on social media that gets tons of views. You be controversial, you get a lot of views. You do there's all kinds of things that people do that get millions and millions of views. So I think it's very misleading. And for Dana to focus on social media views shows that the television aspect of it didn't perform. And the host, TBS, wasn't even interested in airing this finale. He had to go on Rumble. And now he's got a 2-year deal with Rumble. That means TBS wasn't at all interested in keeping this. So, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Dana paid to get it on TBS. Now, I don't know if he's paying Rumble or if his Rumble's paying him, because Rumble's a startup app, like competitor to YouTube. It might be that Rumble agreed to pay them this time around. But it's going to be even more of a challenge because now it's not on TV. You might get a lot of views on social media, but does that translate to anything? It's hard to say. Now, I do think it'll be interesting the next season because Dana said he plans to bring guys from all over the world, Russia and place in Europe where this competition has been going on a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys compete against the guys he just had. That might bring some aspect of drama or some guys getting just clobbered real badly. But the other thing I would say is the naysayers of this, there's a point. This is probably more dangerous than MMA in some ways. So I don't think it's wrong that people are saying that. I think that that's probably accurate. I know Dana likes to downplay that. That's different from MMA. People were citing the violence of MMA, but I would say there were more safeguards in place with MMA than with this. So it's just a different thing. People might say that's crazy because guys are getting kicked in the head, punched in the head, elbowed in the face, and stuff like that. But there are a lot of ways to educate the fan base on how safe MMA was in comparison to boxing, for example, where guys were dying a lot and still do. So this, I don't know. They might be able to say, well, it's safer than boxing. They just slap each other a couple times. They could try to go that route and maybe try to bring attention to it that way. But it's I think it's going to face a lot of challenges because it's going to be hard to create storylines in a sport that doesn't have much nuance, that doesn't have much variables. After you've seen a few events of Powerslap, you've seen them all. It's just, do you have a personality that you're willing to watch? Do you have someone who's controversial enough that you're willing to watch that person? That's really the only thing that could drag more people into this kind of game. I don't think the competition aspect of it is going to attract people just because there's not a lot of variables.